For 6 months, I have been counting down the days to this contest. Guys, literally for over 25 years, South Africa versus Australia. It has brought us a lot of drama. And here both of them are. The Aussies, a bit expected to some. South Africa, not really. I mean, we've gotten close a few times, but finally, after years of toiling, we have made it into our first World Test Championship final. Stay tuned, because I'm going to be here. I'm going to be breaking down my 11 that is going at the Aussies, that is going to give them absolutely everything they can to bring us that ICC trophy. Who am I? Now there might be some surprises here, so stay tuned, especially the one at the end, because I'm not sure a lot of people would be picking this guy, but for me he is going to be absolutely key. But let's start at the top. Let's start with a guy who a lot of people might think, he shouldn't really be there. But here's why I think he should be there. First of all, he is the class man himself, a beautiful cover drive. His stats might not compare to some of the greats in the world, but his cover drive sure does. None other than Aiden Markram. Now, look, he doesn't have a big sort of bundle of stats in England. As you can see, he's average, not good, hasn't made a lot of runs in England, okay? But I just really feel that, number one, he is a right-handed batter. I will talk a little bit more about that later, because I do think the right-left-hand combination is vital, especially when you're facing a bowling attack like Australia. The last thing that you want to do is give them two lefties or two righties and let them just settle in on a line and a length and just run through our order. So Aiden Markram is there. And interestingly enough for me, out of all of the top teams, I'm just going to talk about the top teams here now, like maybe the top 5, 6, 7 teams in the world, even top 8 maybe, his average against Australia is 60. So for me, I quite like that, and I love Aiden Markram, so obviously he starts there. Number 2, none other than the purple patch man, Ryan Rickleton. This guy has been in the form of his life. We've been waiting for years as South Africans. I've been following him domestically, and finally now, it really seems as though he's finding his feet in all formats, and especially this one. You cannot look past the fact that he just scored a 200. It has been years and years since a South African player has scored a 200. Look, he looks very compact. I think him and Aiden, my honest opinion, I think him and Aiden should be opening the batting in all formats of the game, but we'll talk about that in the future. That's my top 2. Some people might feel that Tony de Zorzi is missing out here. Yes, I do also think he's missing out, but like I said before, I wouldn't want to throw in 2 left-handed batters. Okay, you've got the likes of Mitchell Starc running in there as well. Aiden Markram, Ryan Rickleton, for me, those 2 have to start it off at the top. Now the next one, number 3. A lot of South Africans, some of the ex-players as well, I have to say, me too, I'm still not quite convinced that number 3 is the best spot for Stubbs. I feel like he would be we could bring out the best in him if he bats in a position like a number 5. Yes, you think of ABD, started off his career opening the batting, then he moved to that lower middle order position where he was really able to take the attack to the Australians. But in the modern game of Test cricket, the number 3 role is actually becoming more of a role shifter. Can you anchor the innings? Can you counterpunch against the attack? And I think out of all the players in our sides, he's got more facets to his game than anyone. So maybe the number 3 position isn't really that bad for Stubbsy, and maybe it is actually made for him. Number 4, obviously, our X-Factor captain. He's been our best batter now for the last few years, actually. Temba Bavuma, the Troll Slayer. Actually, there's another good name for him. Temba has been absolutely magnificent. You look at his average and it just doesn't really paint a full picture. Okay, Temba's averages in the last few years, I mean, look at these numbers. Yes, some years maybe he hasn't played as much as the others, but the last few years he's been really consistent. He's been our go-to guy, and that number 4 spot in Test cricket, you think of a Hashim Amla, Jacques Cullis for South Africa, it is the prime spot, okay? And he can sit there, he can build partnerships with players, he can control the innings. He's great against spin, although we don't know how much that's going to come into play. He's fantastic against pace. And here's the other interesting thing for me. People make fun of him for being short, but I think, looking at our lineup You know, you're looking how tall some of the guys are, and Aidan Markram, Tristan Stubbs, also quite a tall guy. It's a different kind of challenge for bowlers to bowl at, let's say, Stubbs at the one end and Timber at the other. Okay, I mean, the difference in height is absolutely massive. So again, how much can we ask Australia to consistently change their plans? So I think that's another thing that we don't really speak about when we speak of Temba Bavuma, but I think his height is actually an advantage for us. Now here's the guy for me that I am looking forward to the most. Okay, it's Mr. England himself. It is David Bedingham. Now he's been kind of flying under the radar in the last year or so. When he came on the scene, you know, he was absolutely brilliant. But here's the thing though for me about David. Last year in the county comp competition, he was the highest run scorer. I mean, look at this guy. It's like 1,300 runs, an average of what, I think 78. I mean, those stats are absolutely deadly. I mean, you can't really get better than that. I mean, that is frightening if you were the opposition. So obviously David really loves playing in England. The other thing about him is that his strike rate is much higher. Obviously you want that from your number 5, right? You want your number 5 to be that guy who can possibly literally take the game away from the opposition, and he is that guy. My only thing has been in the last maybe the last year or so, sometimes he throws his wicket away in ways that I do not like, but it's England, you know, it's not Australia, it's not South Africa, those are different. It's another reason why you look at some of our guys, their averages. It's not easy to bat in those places, guys, batting in Australia, batting in South Africa. So I think comparing our averages to maybe, you know, other teams in the top, it's not always a fair comparison. So David Bedingham, he's going to play a big part for me. I'm excited to see what he can do in those 2 innings of batting. Number 6 is obviously Carl Verreynne. Since Klaasen has retired, he's been our go-to man. His average overseas, actually, in away games is, you know, it's better than home. He's the kind of guy that he thrives in all sorts of conditions. So I'm quite excited to see. He's also one of those guys that bats really well with the tail. You know, he's the leader of the tail. He's given us a lot of extra runs. Good player, also a good player of spin. We don't know how much that's going to come into play, but he rotates the strike really well. He's not one of those guys that's just going to sit there and wait. You know, he is going to bring it to the opposition. So excited to see Kyle in there. Number 7 is none other than Marco Jansen. Now for me, this guy is He's probably, I think, the bowler, in all honesty. Yes, we've got Rabada. Obviously, we'll get to Rabada, but he's the bowler that I think Australia might be the most wary of, okay? Because they haven't seen that much of him. All they're seeing is these stats. I mean, look at this. He's already got over 70 wickets. I mean, he's an absolute star in the making. Some Australians have even said this guy could be number 1 in the world. I'm sure Ricky Ponting thinks that. Ricky Ponting thinks very highly of him. So Marco Jansen for me is absolutely key. Swings the ball both ways. I mean, the bounce that he gets, guys. We saw at Lords, England versus Australia, that one day at Lords where you just had to bowl bouncers the whole day. I mean, this guy can bowl a bouncer. So he's got a lot of weapons in his arsenal. And on top of that, he's a good batter as well. He can get us those extra bit of runs at the back. Again, somebody who bats really well with the tail. He's batted in some pressure situations. That match against, it was Pakistan, with Rabada. So for me, I'm one of my favourite players, and he's going to have to play a big part for South Africa because he's going to have to come running in with, yes, the spearhead of our attack, Kagiso Rabada. Now, I'm going to go straight to what Dale Steyn said. You know, Dale Steyn made this statement where he said, when Rabada gives a fuck, it is very difficult to beat South Africa. When this guy comes in, he runs in, he's got his rhythm, okay, his tail is up. There are very few batters that could keep him out of the game, okay. Last year he bowled one of the best no-wicket spells. I mean, the amount of times that ball missed the outside edge, missed the stumps, he's going to need a bit of luck as well. I'm praying for him to have a bit of luck, but he is our spearhead. He loves playing against Australia. Fantastic record, and also a great record in England. Rabada is going to be that guy who's going to hit the line, hit the length. He's going to go for that seam movement. Very, very excited. You know, it's like the Steyn Morkel kind of scenario for me a bit with Rabada And with Jansen, like Steyn as well, Rabada varies his pace a little bit. You know, every now and again, he will throw in a rocket, and that usually catches players off guard. Speaking about rockets, the next guy, I'm not sure if a lot of people will have him in, but for me, it's very important. Corbin Bosch, okay, our speedster. Now, the reason I'm saying speedster is the one area where Australia looked a little bit, well, they're a different batting side now. Like us, you know, we don't quite really know where we stand with the batting. But the one area where they really looked quite troubled and shaken was when Mark Wood was running in that Ashes series. I mean, Mark couldn't bowl a lot of overs, but when he was bowling, you felt like things were going to happen. There's any chance in the world for a wicket to come. So for me, Corbin Bosch, yes, he bats really well as well. Every opportunity that this guy has been given, he has not grabbed it, he has conquered it, okay? T20s now for Mumbai, he got a few games there, he was absolutely amazing. This guy puts his heart and his soul in everything that he does on the cricket pitch. His family has a rich cricket history as well. He's the guy who can get us over that 150 mark, he can bowl those rockets and he can catch players off guard. And even if he doesn't take the wicket, he is going to do enough damage in his over for the next guy to maybe come in and get that wicket. So for me, Corbin Bosch, we need a 150 pacer. I think some people might think, okay, I'll talk about, you know, who's going to be left out, but very important for me, Corbin Bosch. Next, of course, none other than Kesh Maharaj. Alyssa Healy, actually, and Haddon on their podcast were sort of like contemplating the fact of, what about not picking a spinner at all? And that kind of got me thinking, geez, I know South Africa will go with a spinning option because Maharaj, the thing about him is, you look at his stats, okay, wonderful stats. He's also the economist. Okay, but the thing about him for me is, and he's proven this in all formats, he was the number one in ODI cricket just last year, this guy can take wickets on any carpet. Okay, obviously, he's going to take wickets on a spinning carpet, but if it's flat, if it's batter friendly, if there's not anything in it for the spinners, like a Mitch Santner, he can vary his pace, he can vary his lines and his length. So for me, Kesh is absolutely important. Yes, he's also scored quite a bit of runs for South Africa when we really, really needed it. He can also counter punch. He's quite a counter-attack like batter in red ball. I won't speak much about his batting in white ball, but in red ball, quite good. And I think, you know, you never know how this game, how far it's going to go. Day 2, day 3, the pitch usually flattens out. We could see ourselves going all the way to day 4, end of day 4, I don't know, maybe even start of day 5, if things pan out the way that we think they're going to pan out. So I do think Kesh Maharaj, for me, world-class bowler, can take a wicket in any kind of situation, and he can stifle batters, keep them cramped up in the crease. Definitely Kesh Maharaj is in there for me. And then finally, here's the guy that I think a lot of people might think, okay. But Dane Patterson, okay, he's been playing county cricket for years now, 2 seasons, over 50 wickets. He loves bowling in England as well. This year he signed for Middlesex, which means he's playing all of his matches, not all of his matches, home matches at Lord's. He's got the experience. He's worked really, really hard. He was on the scene for South Africa years and years ago, and then Shukri actually brought him back. Well, we had a lot of injuries and we brought him back, and my goodness, did he become a star. I think the Pakistani bowler, I think it's Abbas. I think something is telling me it's Abbas. These guys bowl at 130 kilometers an hour, guys. And for me, you don't want all of your bowlers. This was the issue for me in the BGT with India, was that all of the bowlers were very, very similar. You want to face Australia, you want to have the biggest variety of attack in your bowling lineup that you can. And what Patterson does, he provides a completely different type of weaponry than a Jansen, a Rabada, a Corbin, who's our speedster, provides. You know, he's short, much shorter than the other guys as well. He's skiddy, okay, he swings the ball both ways, and he's incredibly accurate. So again, even if he does not take the wickets, he could frustrate the batters, but he's been taking fifers for South Africa. So that's my 11. Mulder may be missing out. Again, I just feel that at the end of the day, we're going to have to be able to take 20 wickets, guys. And for me, that bowling attack is our best chance of getting those 20 wickets, hopefully as soon as possible. We want to be attacking. For me, yes, Mulder has bowled well, but he's also a bit of a shorter guy, and I feel like that category has to be filled with Dane Patterson. Ngidi, another option that people might be surprised at of me leaving out. The last few years, his fitness levels just hasn't been there for me in Test cricket in this format. You know, you can go and look at, he never, ever, I can't remember the last time he bowled a 20 over. He bowled 20 overs in an innings. Okay, guys, this is England, all right? There's going to be times, day 2, day 3, where it's going to be hard to take wickets. So you're going to need guys who's going to be able to run in and put the overs in. And for me, he just hasn't really had that fitness levels that he had, let's say 2019, 2020. So that's my 11. Let me know what you think of it. Let me know what your 11 is. And let me know what you think our chances are of taking the Mace.